All right, let's get to work. We start Thursday, September 15th, 8:15 p.m. Eastern. Los Angeles Chargers 1-0 at the Kansas City Chiefs, 1-0. 0-0 at home, Arrowhead Stadium in Kansas City, Missouri, 80 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 8 miles per hour. My dad is a season ticket holder for the LA Chargers. He cares about this team very much. And so he asked me to put $200 on the Chiefs at -3.5 and -110 so that he could handle the loss. He could take care. It wouldn't drive him into a horrible depression, he said. So this opened at 3.5. It moved to 4. It moved to 4 at Pinnacle at 4:59 p.m. From a total standpoint, this opened up at 54. It's now at 54.5. So it has climbed a half point right now. Let's move over to the cash flow here. Don Max says, I think I'll take the Bolts when they get to 5. DS Fowler says, Chargers a great teaser piece, in my opinion. Kirk Gray says, Kansas City is the play. We have, at this point, 23,163 tickets in. 29% of tickets, 39% of the cash on the Chargers. So there's some sharp money coming in on it, but the books are uncomfortable and have moved it to 4. We'll know if this goes back to 3.5. By the way, I didn't send in my dad's bet.
You just took it? I like that.
I just took it.
Booking the old man.
I just don't believe he's going to have a winning season. And you have to start right away, even if there's spots that you don't necessarily like. You can't just pick and choose when to not send in somebody's action. You have to just never send in their action, pretty much, if you know their history. 80% of the tickets, 73% of the cash is on the over. Chargers come off a 24-19 home win over the Raiders. They've not started 2-0 since 2012. They've lost 13 of their last 16 games to the Chiefs, but have covered 5 of their last 7. We talked about the Chiefs winning games but not covering. That certainly wasn't the case in the Chiefs' first game of the year when they destroyed the Cardinals. Justin Herbert, 26 of 34 for 279 yards, 3 touchdowns. New players have played a major role in the victory. Herbert completed passes to 9 players, 5 with 3 or more receptions. All three TD passes were caught by first-year Chargers. Wide receiver DeAndre Carter, who's going to play a much bigger role now that Keenan Allen is dealing with a hamstring injury. He said after the game that he doesn't think it's serious, but I'd be surprised to see him out there. Also, tight end Gerald Everett and fullback Xander Horvath, their 7th-round pick. At the time of Allen's exit, he had 4 catches for 66 receiving yards. If he does miss Thursday night, Mike Williams and DeAndre Carter would be the team's top 2 receivers. Mike Williams did not have a catch until the 4th quarter. Austin Eckler did not look very good. 14 carries for 36 yards. Sony Michel's first game as a Charger, he caught 7 passes for 12 yards. Ran 7 times for 12 yards. Excuse me, I didn't mean to write passes there. Khalil Mack had 3 sacks in his Chargers debut. Was Mack's his second 3-sack game of his entire career. Joey Bosa had 1.5 sacks, and Bryce Callahan had the 4th quarter pick. The Chiefs looked dominant. 44-21 victory. They outgained Arizona 488-282. Mahomes was incredible, just as Topset had told us that he would be. 30 of 39 for 360 yards, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. 5-0 in season openers. 18 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Completed touchdown passes on the first 3 drives of the season. Second quarterback to do that since 91. The other one was Aaron Rodgers in 2011. Kelsey, 8 catches for 121 yards, 30th game with 100+. Juju Smith-Schuster, 6 catches for 79 yards. Pacheco led the Chiefs in rushing with 12 carries for 62 yards. Allaire, 7 for 42, but caught 3 passes for 32 yards and brought 2 of them to the house. The Chiefs, 3rd with 396.8 yards per game last season, did not take a step back without Tyreek Hill. Now, there's some interesting stuff. Harrison Butker rolled his ankle on a kickoff attempt. He went to the medical tent, carted off the field. Justin Reed, their safety, came in, missed an extra point, and Butker came out, kicked a 54-yard field goal, but it's his plant foot, and they just tried out Tristan Vizcaino, so there has to be concern over Butker. Last year, Vizcaino converted 6 of 7 field goals for the Chargers in 6 games he played. Trent McDuffie, their corner, suffered a hamstring strain. Justin Watson, their receiver, suffered a chest injury. Guard Trey Smith hurt his ankle. And this Kansas City defense that ranked 27th in the league last year looked very good. The question I have for you, Andy, is are we getting the Chiefs at a discount? Will this discount go away after a win here? Or will they go back to winning games but not covering them? Take it away here, the Thursday nighter, Andy. Chargers.
Yeah,
Chiefs.
this was a team in the Chargers that matched up well against Kansas City last year. A couple of close. I think both games were 6-point games, and they went 1-1. I really, really, really was hoping this would be a full strength game. It's like, it's week 2. Who can all get hurt? Man, Keenan Allen really matters. And somebody in the chat already says it. Mike Williams is not the same without Allen on the field. I don't think he plays. It matters. Maybe it mattered less against the Raiders team that was kind of janky on offense at certain points in the game, but I don't think J.C. Jackson's going to go for the Chargers. He's probably going to sit again. They were you can kind of read through some of the BS when the coach speak, like, we have a lot of questions to answer on him before we get to the game Thursday. It doesn't sound good. He was very limited in practice. So I think, the 3.5 was the right move. I agree with the move on the total. There's some sharp books that are up to 4.5 in this now. I don't like this game. I don't want to bet this game. I'm really excited to watch this. I will bet the second half. I'll be looking for some props. But I think part of the reason Kansas City had trouble with the Chargers last year was how they set up the defense to defend things like Tyreek Hill. And the offense was different. It was great. Mahomes did what he did, but it was different with the cavalcade of receivers that they're rolling out there, trying to replace Hill, and maybe a little bit overpriced because of just Arizona was in a really bad spot with just the injury news kept getting worse for those guys. Like, just nothing shook out right for them. And then, just Mahomes went out and did what he did, 5 touchdowns. He looked great. And I mean, what they did to replace Tyreek Hill seems to have worked so far. Granted, it was a rough secondary. I wasn't high on the Cardinals defense for this year, but without J.C. Jackson out there, it's still maybe another bad matchup against a really good offense. They even got, people had given up on Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and they got him in the act. Kelsey is just always going to produce. Like, he's gotten to that point where it's like Gronk going up the seam, and it doesn't matter who's defending him. It's just undefendable at points for how they use him. So I agree with the move. I like the over a little, but I'm a little tentative with the Chargers offense maybe having some problems with Allen out. So staying away from this one for the most part. This will just be a live betting. And honest to God, this is just a great game to watch. So I'm pumped that it's a standalone game on a Thursday.
It is a nice one. I do not – if I wanted the Chiefs, I would have got in at 3.5. I know that Dutch Boy Fresh talked about it on our show yesterday. He got in at 3 at -120. And Viper on the Chiefs at -3.5. Eric Swiatek his model has it Chiefs -6. Brady says it's hard to bet against Mahomes in September. It would be Chargers or nothing for me, and I can happily pass on this game. CG Baker's offense wasn't the same without Keenan. Mike Williams not an alpha without Allen. What do you think of that? Mike Williams not.
Yeah, that was the message I was referencing earlier. Like, it's not the same, and they were lucky to get out to a lead. And really, the Raiders really disappointed me. I had an over in that one. That was one of my losses for the week. The Raiders really moved the ball slowly. And I mean, I checked the pace for week 1. It's a small sample we have, but they were one of the slowest teams as far as just time between plays. I didn't like anything they were doing on offense. And then Carr had some bad decisions. This isn't Derek Carr this week. It is the probably best quarterback in the league. And they seem to have, it wasn't you say, like, are we rebuilding or reloading? Obviously they weren't rebuilding. They still have a great team, but if you kind of micro it down to just the wide receiving core, there was a lot of question marks, and they were answered pretty quickly because it's maybe similar to what we were worried about in Baltimore with not having the receivers they needed out there. Oh shit, you still have 8 all-world tight end. And they made things work because Andy Reid is still a very good coach, one of the best in the league. You got probably the best quarterback, a Hall of Fame coach, and they just made things work on offense. So, yep, lean Chiefs, staying away from this one.
The Sharps dominated in week 1. And when this line first came out, I was like, well, it looks to me like the Sharps are on the Chargers. I think that's fair to say at this point. 23,201 tickets in, 29% of tickets, 39% of cash on the Chargers. But why I kind of pause on that is if there were, if the Sharps were on the Chargers, you'd think that they would wait. They would know that the public was going to destroy, hammer the Chiefs. And so I guess if unfortunately I sort of have a bet on the Chargers not sending in my dad's bet.
Yeah, I was going to say you've bet it essentially.
Yeah.
But and that's too maybe not a ton of value in once it's gotten out to 4, not a ton of value if it keeps going, or a 5 isn't a terribly key number, a little more key than it used to be. But I don't know. I'm interested to see where this market heads over the next couple of days as well, because middle of the week, and granted they had a lot more time because it was a Sunday game, but middle of the week this thing just got beat up like Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday morning. Last week, it just shot up. So interested to see what we get when limits go up on Wednesday.
What do you think of this total? 80% of tickets on the over, 73% of cash, and we've seen it climb a half point. It moved from 54 to 54.5 today at midnight. What do you think of this total?
So my numbers like the over, but I'm certainly not betting it with Allen out. Eckler, I don't think was looking great. Like, I have some big question marks like that. There's a bunch of scenarios where the Chargers just don't score much here. I don't think the Chiefs defense is all that good, but they did have some nice play from the same Carl Loftus too. They have a nice young pass rusher they got. They did well in the draft this year. And Casey can play a little defense here. I do worry about that kicker thing. I brought that up earlier to someone. I said, God, are they more likely to like go for it if it's like, we might kick this, or shoot, our kicker, we're using a backup kicker. I know they've got Amendola on the practice squad, so I'm worried that I'm worried that Kansas City would be more likely to go in go situations. It's already an aggressive team. It usually leads to more points when teams make the right decision. So staying away from this. Numbers say over. My head says under, and I'm just going to watch this one and enjoy it. Somebody said that too, like maybe just Kelsey over. Just take some Kelsey over lines, have some fun.
Harold Williams is under, just like the Raiders and Chargers game. Ray Charles says Kelsey plus 90 yards is at plus 130. Big shout out to Twate Latte. Thank you for the $5 dono. My guy, it means a ton to us. Thank you for your support. CT Base says Eckler likely not 100%, as you alluded to. His usage was curious. He says so was the signing of Sony Michel. All right. For me at this point, I have interest in a first half under. I will wait and see how high it goes up. I like the idea of the Chargers playing at a slow pace. And if you want to beat the Chiefs, you have to keep Mahomes off the field. In saying that, I don't know at this point if I'll get to the window, but I'm certainly interested in it. And I will keep an eye on the market. And if I move on it, I will tweet it out. There is your Thursday nighter, Chargers, Chiefs. We